After a brief and tense journey, the familiar stone walls loom before us. We cluster tightly together in case of unknown dangers at this final hurdle, Callum in the lead, sheltering Cassidy behind him. Then Oscar, then Dolores, then finally myself. Well, Dolores won't be getting out anytime soon. The princess should be visible enough for our group to be granted passage without argument, but a sniper's shot at her should be blocked by one of the two men. As for Dolores, someone has to keep an eye on her and make sure she doesn't try to run. She appears to have accepted her fate, but I wouldn't trust her not to turn on us at the worst possible moment. Neither would I. We reach the front gates. This time Callum's bellowed greeting is met with a chorus of hails. A full company of guards charge out to surround and escort us. Even then, our heightened nerves do not allow us to relax easily, but the soldiers make no aggressive moves. Unless they want to, put you in a dark room and have their way with you. It's probably not that kind of game, though. They do not even ask for details of how we came to be in this situation, but move us swiftly into the safety of the building. There we will have to give our accounting to the King of Gwelinor. He sounds sexy. Inside, the guards suddenly call a halt. Rules this way, servants that way. What? Maddie stays with me. I mean, Miss Valois. You're such a prick, Oscar. Only one of them is a prisoner. We have orders, Your Highness. Your parents wish to speak with you urgently in their private chambers. And they will whisk you the fuck away. No, we're not allowing for such tomfoolery. It would not be appropriate for those not of royal birth to be admitted. Their statements will be taken later. I suppose. You won't let that one worm free? Don't worry, I'll keep an eye on her. They will be guarded at all times. Yeah, look how that fucking worked out last time. Oscar looks at me but says nothing. Cassidy draws herself up to the full height. Very well, carry on. I must apologize if you hear me coughing, by the way. I still have a cold and it's still quite bad. I'm just getting over it. Dolores and I are herded into a room to await His Majesty's pleasure. Your weapons. What? Orders to avoid accidents. Indeed, another guard is already poking and prodding at Dolores to ensure that she's carrying nothing at all dangerous. You might want to take a mouth off her in that case. I at least am spared that indignity, but I am made to hand over my daggers. After that, the guards take up positions outside the doors, preventing us from exiting but otherwise leaving us alone. There is nothing for us to do but stare each other and pace. I can only imagine what must be happening with the others. Will Prince Callum rage at his parents for having kept him in the dark all these years? Will they fuck? Will he be punished? Or will the newfound sibling bond between him and Princess Cassidy serve to mend all ills? Nope. And what of Oscar? He could demand reparations for the assault in the garden, if he chooses not to take Callum's side. Blast it, I wish I could be there. While I'm making wishes, I also wish for a cool drink and a warm bath. Sleeping in a forest does not suit me. Ah, look at you, woman of higher leisure. You could at least untie me. You're a prisoner. Come on, what am I gonna do? Knock you over and take on the entire palace guard myself? Yes. That is what I think you're gonna do. Just want my hands free, that's all. My fingers hurt. Untie her, don't untie her. No, like fuck are we untying you? How do I know you wouldn't jump straight into a secret passage and disappear? This is your palace full of your friends. Ha! Little you know. How would you like it, half out of joint and all mud and bruises? Well, I don't have to think about that, because I'm not the one who stole everything. Just pointing that out. My nose itches something fierce, and I can't even scratch it. Scratch her nose, ignore her. Does she... No, fuck it. It's like an ancient torture, let's put it that way. Fuck you. I'm feeling like a heartless bastard. Your nose is not my problem. Maybe I should just rub my nose on the table. I won't have to polish it now. Her eyes meet and hold mine for a moment, but her will is weaker than mine and she soon looks away. I think they just shared a moment, actually. I think that's what that is. Why did you do it? Do what? Betray your masters? Why not? You had a good position here. Better than someone like me deserves, huh? Don't think I haven't heard that every day of my life. You're somewhat unusual for a page. I know that now. If I would have known that then, I'd have run for the hills and Malik's the king. What are you talking about? Look at me, it's just like brushing over them. Shut up, scum! That's what I may as well have said. You want to hear this, lady whatever? I'm a foundling, dropped off on a doorstep and raised with the other dogs. I've no idea who my people are. Charity brought me up, out in the street. Yeah, she's from the street, yeah boy! So I learnt a few letters, and eating dirt and picking pockets and washing shirts. House girls, sometimes somebody wants us for a servant. Nobody important, of course, we're not good enough for that. That background would certainly explain her speech and manner. But then what is she doing here? You know what, she just sounds like she's the Artful Dodger from Oliver Twist. As she said, an orphan peasant would rarely rise higher than someone's merchant's back kitchen. One day, this fancy lady, all in good clean clothes, comes to the house. She says His Majesty wants to look good. Do something nice for the scum of the land. I'm sure those are the words which were used. One of us little insects gets to go off to the palace and live the life of luxury, and they pick me. They clean me up and give me new clothes and the best meal I've ever had, so I think I must be dreaming. Then, why? Why would you betray them? You got all the book learning, but you're still as dumb as a stone. Enlighten me. No. Why bother? I'm old for the long drop. No one will care I was ever here. Oh, so if I untied her before, she would have told me. But she probably would have run off later and that would have caused some consequences. So I still think I chose the right choice. So you think about it. Maybe you'll learn something. Or you forget. It's no difference to me. You're not going to die. You want Princess Cassidy to your side. She'll speak for you. That's no guarantee. Nobody is exactly what they look like. Perhaps so. But rarely is a seeming entirely false. And Cassidy has shown herself to be a forgiving soul. It's a he though, isn't it? Dolores hooks her foot into the base of a chair to pull it away from the table, then sits still bound. She leans her head back, closing her eyes. What are you doing? She doesn't answer me. Fine. I suppose there's... What is she doing? Strangling herself? God. I suppose there's really not much that we have left to say. She is rough and rude and manipulative and disloyal. Yeah, she's the only one who's rude around here. I am a saint and an angel. We are too different to ever understand each other. I choose a seat where I can watch her at a safe distance and allow myself to relax. There is nothing to do but wait. Oh, at long last, the door opened and a stern-looking pair of guards march into the room. Do you not like this music? That means it's bad. You are under arrest for kidnapping and assault of Cassidy, Princess of Guelinor, Madeline Valois. Wait, what? You know, I fucking knew it. Of course that's what happened. This is a mistake, isn't it? It was Dolores. Aren't you supposed to be arresting her? No mistake. I glare at Dolores. Say something! But she shakes her head. No surprise. Why would she incriminate herself? Will you come with us or will we have to carry you? And what about her? None of your business, but she's to see the king for her reward. Alright, come on, who's fucked me over here? A reward? How is this possible? I don't know how she's done it. Somehow, someway, she's played us all for fools. There's going to be a lot of smiting going on later. This isn't over. If you've harmed Oscar in any way, you will wish that they'd hanged you. I bet it was Oscar that kind of handed me in. It's got to be. That's enough out of you! Strong hands seize hold of my arms and begin to pull me away, but I keep my eyes locked on hers. And she says nothing. Nothing at all. Oh dear. When I was a little girl, my favourite book was Tales of Spirits, a collection of stories penned by the late Countess of Barneville. Not all were about fairies and magic, but most were about adventure. I was wondering what it was going to say, like if they were adult books. Let's move on from that. Oh dear. We've gone into Yaoi all of a sudden again. Brave young shepherdesses. That's That's what it says. Shepherdesses. Frightening the wolves away from their flock. Handsome tailors who won the hearts of the lonely princesses. Knights and dragons. And then there were the darker tales. The stories intended to frighten children into obedience. Those were the stories my mother read to me. There was the story of Tomba of the Troll Slayer. Tomba is not a name of a troll slayer. Tomba, that's something you call like a little child in Tanzania who has pink hair and odd taste in music. I'm not sure why I thought that, but as soon as I mentioned Tanzania, I thought I'd had to save myself. Oh dear. It's in Africa, by the way. For those that are Googling it, there are some, come on. Who celebrated his victory over one monster with dancing and feasts until he collapsed with exhaustion, and then the troll's mate returned, cut off his head and used it as a drinking cup. What kind of story is that to a little fucking child? It's horrible. Or the two brothers who met a witch in the woods and promised to watch her chickens. One kept his promise and the witch gave him a handful of jewels. The other was distracted and ran off to play. The witch turned him into a slug and fed him to her birds. Or the story of Apsaline, a little girl who fell down a well. Instead of using her wits, she cried and cried and cried, until at last she drowned in her own tears. Right, that was a lot of crying. These are the thoughts in my mind as I stand in the dungeons of the Palace of Gwelinor. I do not scream, because there is no one to hear me. No one would make any difference. Oh, no one who would make any difference. I was thinking, hang on a second. I do not cry, because there are better uses for my strength. Patience. Not escape, not yet. I need to know more about what's going on before I try anything along those lines. The guards may not be entirely incompetent, and a failed attempt would only land me in greater trouble. Therefore I wait, and I think about the mysteries that I'm faced, and about revenge. Dolores, who is she really? Certainly not just an orphaned peasant girl. I recognized her earlier, that she had been someone's agent, but in all the confusion over Callum and Cassidy, I let that thought slip my mind. Weakness! I should have not been distracted. And to think, I almost felt sorry for her. But how did she do it? How could she turn the situation around so completely? Did she convince one of the others to betray us? Or did she, mysterious benefactor, step in to save her? No, it's gotta be Oscar or Callum who dropped me in it, and they're planning some sort of escape, or I'm going to escape, or something like that. It's not as simple as they're making it out, I tell you. Callum, Cassidy, Oscar, where are they now? Are they all right? What are they doing? Do they know what has happened to me? Did one of them order this? What am I going to do? As dungeons go, my current environment is not so bad. It is currently a far more pleasant place to be than the tunnels which Prince Callum led us through. The windows let in a bit of light and enough breeze to carry away from the worst scents. I can even catch a few glimpses of green. The metal bars are strong and firmly set. This is not a way out. Still, a hand can easily fit through these gaps, and that does not present possibilities. Oh, fucking hell, that does not look grim at all. It looks like, Legend of Grimrock, dear lord. The view behind me, the view behind me is less picturesque, but acceptable. I have space to move around, and that space is largely dry and relatively unclean. The bed even comes off with a rough blanket, and is more comfortable than where I slept last night. But now is not the time to sleep. I need to be ready to catch every clue, so that I can plan. Oh, it's so quiet in here. There's no one but me. Am I going to be able to escape? You don't hear rubble falling down without there being a means of escape. What if no one ever comes? I'm staying calm. I am prepared. I can't wait here forever. Oscar might be in trouble. I must do something. Footsteps. Maybe now I'll get some answers. Maddie! Oscar! I thrust my hand through the bars to guide him to my cell. Are you alone? Are you alright? What happened? I don't know. They split us up. When King Prederick finally came to talk to me, he starts saying that I've misunderstood the situation. Because, of course, Prince Callum didn't kidnap his sister, and apparently that servant didn't either. They're off limits. Saving face politics, of course. Never mind that Prince Callum hated his parents enough to rob their treasury and kidnap his sister. Never mind that Princess Cassidy's life was in real danger. Never mind that the King and Queen have been mistreating their son and daughter for years, lying to them and keeping them apart. The first priority of the crown is to protect itself. Callum abducting Cassidy would be a scandal. Therefore they claim it didn't happen. But things have gone too far to dust away the whole situation. Everyone in the palace knows that Cassidy was missing. At least a dozen must have seen us return. The king and wisdom have to admit that someone laid hands on the princess. That blame should have fallen on Dolores. She was, after all, guilty. But for some reason that I cannot yet divine, it seems that the king has other ideas. They can't be blamed, so someone else has to be. And that means you and I. Yes. I don't understand it. Callum, sure, the royal family doesn't want to be embarrassed, but the page, she's nobody. Apparently not. So, what is the official story? Is Dolores going to be turned out to be the real Princess Cassidy or something like that? It's going to be something absurd, isn't it? They said if I didn't agree, they'd have you executed. Just tell me. The story is that you were behind the whole thing. Only you. You wanted to make me look like a hero, and I knew nothing about it. Blaming Oscar, after all, might cause an incident between the two kingdoms. Fuck it! Do it! So I'm the villain. What is it then? Flogging, branding my thumbs? No! I would never let them do anything like that to you. Well, good, because I don't think I could let them do it to me either. They need your silence to pass their fiction, don't they? What did they offer? You have to stay here in the dungeon until we leave. Then, once you're out of Gwelinor, you never come back. That's all? Well, they also want you to confess, in public. That way it doesn't look like a cover-up. But it's good, because once they've proclaimed that you're just banished, they can't change their minds, so it'll be okay. No, it won't. That's right, isn't it? You'll be safe. It's not even a real punishment. I know I wouldn't want to come back here. It's certainly better than being tortured or killed, but not a real punishment? What will his parents think when we return to Wales? They too have reputations to protect. The full weight of the scandal will fall on my shoulders. I don't believe that they would not harm me, especially not with Oscars to speak for me. But I would, by necessity, be cast out, unemployed and unemployable. Oh, gotta find ourselves a husband then. Well, that's the only thing left. Not a one of my ideas for supporting myself would survive in such circumstances. Oscar can't see it. He's so pleased that he's protected me, saved me from a horrible fate. He doesn't know what this will mean. But what else can I do? If the Crown of Gwelinor is determined to make me a scapegoat, I have no leverage to convince them otherwise. I could attempt to escape and flee, but what would become of Oscar? Even he ran away with me. The scandal would follow us. I will not give up all hope. At least if I take the blame, then Oscar will be declared innocent. And if we return safely to us and Wales, fuck, nearly got that wrong, no, damn you! And his parents are grateful for what I've done, perhaps they will be quietly pensioned off. I can't risk losing that by fighting a useless battle. Until I have some other card to play, I must submit. Callum. Callum is my target! You're right, it's not so bad. I'll visit you all the time. I'll bring you books and food. No! I let go of his hand, stepping back from my cell door. You can't. I'm supposed to be the evil villain, remember? And you're the innocent victim. I betrayed you. If we're going to do this, if we're going to play along with their fiction, we're going to have to do it all the way. Otherwise, we lose everything. You have to pretend to be angry with me. You have to stay away. Oscar can't do that. He loves me. I can't just abandon you. Yes, you can. It's only for a week or so, right? I'll survive. We both will. Whatever you do, you have to take care of yourself. You have to stay safe and out of trouble. I won't be there to clean up after you, right? So don't get any wild ideas about poking around solving mysteries. She's fucking ungrateful, I'll give her that. Maddie, you go now. Don't leave them waiting. Tell them I understand and I agree. Fine, I'm going. I can't see him, but I can hear his footsteps slowly retreating. There's a little voice in my head screaming at me to beg him to come back. Plead with him not to leave me here alone in the dark. It's not the dark though, is it? I mean, really. But there's no point in screaming. I'm not listening. What a sad, sad life Madeleine Valois will now lead. Oh dear.